Welcome to another edition of the Will Be Blood Fight Show. I'm your host, Dave Duenas. Let's talk about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. versus Matt Vonda, the rematch, okay? This is a chance for either one of these guys to try to redeem themselves and hopefully try to get a knockout so there's no controversy again like what had happened in their first bout. But let's kind of recap on what happened in the first bout. There was rumors speculating that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was walking in the ring sick, some type of flu, some type of virus, whatever the case was, but that he was not a norm of what he normally is when he walks into the ring. Okay, well, the only problem I really have with that is that he has said that before when he's had bad performances. Like for instance, Jose Salila, he had mentioned that it just wasn't his night. Okay. Really, what I think the case is with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and honestly, I'm not making an excuse for the kid, but having the name that he has already, his dad's a legendary Mexican fighter out of Mexico, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., and the fact that he's considered a very hot prospect right now, even for top rank, you know, he's probably going to be, Top Rank is looking at him as the next cow money machine to generate all this money for Top Rank, right? So they're being very careful with his career. Also, the same reason they're being careful with his career because of the fact that he doesn't have an amateur background that's strong like his younger brother does, okay? So that already being said, they have put him up with a lot of C and B, you know, club fighters, right? So what happens to these guys like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is they're not up to par to these bouts anymore, you know? So if they're having that ease with opponents that are put up against them, that people in the media and even fans are already saying like, oh, he's going to blow him out. He's going to knock him out. He's too strong. He's a big kid, right? What happens, it goes to their head and they don't train as hard anymore. So I would have to really put the blame on the matchmaker. That the fact that Matt Vonda looked fantastic and was having an advantage over a undertrained Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Now, Matt Vonda's never been stopped since 2004, and it was on the 8th round. So saying that Matt Vonda would be knocked out in the first fight, I was kind of like, you know, with a tug of war with that, but like, I don't know, you know, even though, you know, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is strong, I didn't think he was going to be able to knock him out. But what happened on that night is you had the whole crowd see something out of Julio Cesar Chavez that was not expected. For one, he did not train. For two, he was gassed out within already the third or fourth round. For three, he was getting hit a lot, and these were vicious shots coming from Matt Vonda, okay? So if there's one thing about bouts in Mexico is if you've never even been to a fight in Mexico, there's one thing to know is that the Mexican people that pay for these bouts, they expect performance from you, okay? There's a saying in Mexico where if there's no blood, then you're not in a fight yet, right? And if they're not getting the performance that they're looking for, they're going to react to it. That's just the way how passionate Mexican fight fans are. They'll start throwing bottles, towels, ice, whatever the case is, and that's what happened that night. I really don't think it was because they believe it was a controversial decision. What I really truly believe what it was the fact is that they're like, hey, you're holding a legendary name. How dare you come into the ring undertrained? How dare you take boxing lightly? Okay, so now what happens is he's got to go back to the drawing board, and that's what I think he did also. He went back to the drawing board. He saw exactly what he was doing wrong, and he's going to adjust, and he's going to make the changes that need to be needed to face Matt Vonda in a rematch. Okay, now Matt Vonda has got to hope that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. did not train again for this bout. And he's got to hope for the fact that, you know, he's going to gas out and then he's going to be able to pick up where he left off on the 10th round and then possibly knock him out. It's going to be held in Las Vegas, you know, they moved it from Mexico this time. So, who wins in this bout? Well, really, the more gifted and bigger and stronger fighter, you're going to have to lean towards Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., okay? Matt Vonda is a pretty decent fighter. I'm not going to say he's not a good fighter, but he's a good contender, okay? He's a good contender for a stepping stone for a prospect that's trying to be championship elite, okay? So, him walking in the ring with Julio Cesar Chavez and outboxing him, I don't think that's going to happen this time. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a good match, a close match, and then everybody's going to get the answers that they were looking for from Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., which is he still has a lot of time to grow in his sport. He's not ready to try to go for a title. He's not ready to go up against the top 10 at 154. He won't probably be ready for another 3, 4, 5 years possibly, okay? He's a young kid, and he's a young kid that's really stepping in with, you know, some veteran fighters, some, you know, B class and fighters that have good resumes underneath their fight career, and that's pretty much where Matt Vonda is going to be. Matt Vonda is getting a good purse for this fight, so it's kudos for Matt Vonda, the fact that he's getting the rematch, but it also shows you the characteristics and the person that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is, because he looked for the rematch. He wanted to prove a point saying that this wasn't my night. So hopefully, let's see if it's any truth behind that. Is there any truth, or did we see the best of Julio Cesar Chavez the first time they met with him and Matt Vonda? I don't know. So I'm going to just go with a unanimous decision on Julio Cesar Chavez. I think he's going to win. I think Nonito Dornier versus Thelani. I think that's how you're saying his last name. I'm not really sure. But I'm going to put it up right here on the side so you can see it, and maybe somebody can pronounce it for me. But anyways, Nonito Dornier. Okay, I think right now Nonito Dornier is probably the best in his division. Ever since blowing out Vic Darchilian, the southpaw out of San Leandro, really, this is a slick boxer. A boxer with a punch when he sets it down. His accuracy when he throws his punches are really good. I seen Nonito before he fought Darchilian. He has a very good foundation of boxing, okay? So I'm going to look for him to just really clearly outbox the other guy and just outmaneuver him and just take him all the way down to the end of the round and get a unanimous decision on that bout. Now, on the same card, you have Arce versus Garcia. Now, Garcia's pretty interesting because actually Garcia's a little bit more a harder test for Arce than the fighter that's going to be facing Dornier. He's fought Fernando Montel, who he got knocked out in the 8th round. He lost to a unanimous decision to Eric Morel. He's lost a unanimous decision to Raul Martinez. With Mauricio Prestana, he went on a draw with him. He's fought Cesar Lopez, lost to a unanimous decision on that bout also. So, you know, Garcia really is a good contender going in there, okay? So, I don't think it's going to be as easy as the fans or myself or anybody to say it would be for Arce facing Garcia. This is going to be a tough match for Arce, okay? Garcia's out of Mexico, so you know he comes to fight. And you know the fact he's going to come forward, he's going to throw as many punches as he can. But can he win this bout? And I'm going to have to say no. Same thing, too, is that Travieso is looking just to outwork him and probably even possibly stopping him in the later rounds. If not, it's going to go to unanimous decision. I think Arce is just going to have a lot of fun with him in the ring. There's going to be some moments for Garcia, but not a whole lot. Really slight underlying moments, but really it's just going to be the whole match about Arce, okay? And really these two fights with Dornier and Arce, these two guys that they're facing opposite, you know, in the ring, are really just bouts to make them look good, to secure a win that's up ahead for them, a showdown between Dornier and Arce in late of 2009. So look for everybody, the main names on this card to really win, take over, and move on, okay, to the much bigger things that are ahead for them, okay? And really the big fireworks showdown is going to be Nonito Dornier versus Jorge Travieso Arce.